So just a little comment when you're finalizing the activities of daily living and you're trying to find out which one is the most important, okay? We said you can ask it in a pain-based situation way, you could ask it in a pleasure-based way, but the best way to ask it is in a pain and pleasure-based. That's the best way, because we already know pleasure is weak. Remember, pleasure is weak. Pain is what gets people's attention. Okay? And we talk about this a lot, but it's like a 3-to-1 ratio. Research has shown people will respond to move away from pain 3-to-1 versus go to pleasure. And that's just being generic. But remember, pain's 80% of all motivation, primary pain-based motivation. So when you're going to do the summary and you're trying to find out that primary ADL, because how important is that primary ADL? That's why they're spending time and money. You have to find. Now, all of the ADLs they have pain or restrictions with are important, but the number one, just like the chief complaint, is the reason. It's the pinnacle of why they're spending time or money. So when you do the summary, a good way to say it, and this is a key point, do not assume, like let's say they had pain or restrictions with sleeping and it was a 5, and work was a 2, and let's say dressing was a 3. Do not assume the 5 was the one that's most important to them. Do not. Because they can have an activity that's more painful, but that activity is not as important to them. Another activity could be way more important. I'll give you an example. This actually happened. The lady, she really valued walking at night. She was an older lady, and she walked with her friends at night. So there was socialization, recognition, appreciation, approval. There was a lot, health. And because of her back pain, she couldn't walk. Now, she also had some restrictions with, I think it was sleeping. One of these other categories you would think would be more important, like sleeping, right? Well, she gave a higher grade of pain and restriction with sleeping, and walking, it was lower. But when we asked her and said, well, which of these problems is bothering you the most and you'd like to get rid of the quickest, she said, I'd like to be able to walk again. Because in her mind, that was more valuable to her. So do not assume, kind of like with the chief complaints, just because they write that one down first, don't assume that that's the primary. So it's the same with ADLs. Just because they said this one's a 9 and this one's a 7, don't assume the one that is 9 is most important to them, that they want to get back to normal because of what I just told you. So when you ask the pain or pleasure-based question and you do the summary, so you'd want to say, you could either ask it, you could say, well, which of these problems would you like to get better, back to normal quicker? Well, that's a pleasure-based statement. It's weak. You could say, which of these problems would you like is bothering you the most? That's a pain-based statement. And what's most effective is to use both. Is to say, out of these problems, and by the way, you want to list them. I wouldn't generically say these problems. I'm going to say whatever they were. Well, out of sleeping, because that's personalizing it. Well, out of sleeping, whatever they said they had problems with. Sleeping, working, and getting dressed. Which one of these is bothering you the most that you'd like to get back to normal the quickest? That's how I would ask it. It's a pain-pleasure motivator. You're going to get a lot greater response of getting the primary. And by the way, this is true for the chief complaint too. This is, finding the chief complaint. And then if they don't say one and they give you 2 again, because every now and then they'll say, oh, both of them or 2 of them or something like that. What's the rule? Ask it again. So I say, I understand. So acknowledge them. I understand. But which one is bothering you the most that you'd like to get back to normal the quickest? Say the exact same thing. Now remember, that's the second resistance. So you'll clear the tables. And then if they still don't, then I'm going to ask them to pick one. Then I'll say, they go, well, both of them are. Say, if you had to choose one. And you go, well, what if they said it again? I'm going to go, if you had to choose one. I'm going to keep saying that until they give me one. Okay?
Say it a different way?
No, because I'm on the third resistance.
Okay.
You know what number of percentage of people we're talking about right now? We're wasting our time talking about it. That's how little that actually happens on the third resistance. Okay? You just saw it happen. He caved on the third resistance, and he was purposefully trying not to cave. And I still got him.